What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, October 13th, 2023, and I have another emergency update on the situation in Israel. Right now, it is 3:08 a.m. Eastern Time here in the United States. So, we have some major breaking news. Israel is telling the UN to evacuate the entire northern half of the Gaza Strip within 24 hours. So it looks like Israel is going to make their big ground invasion starting this weekend sometime. Okay, they're trying to get all of the civilians out of the northern half of the Gaza Strip. So I want to just read to you some information about this. The Israeli Ministry of Defense and the IDF notified the UN just before midnight local time that Palestinians living north of Wadi Gaza should evacuate to the southern part of the Gaza Strip in the next 24 hours, according to UN spokesperson Stephanie Dujarric and another source with direct knowledge. Okay. Uh, Apparently, more than 1 million Palestinians live in this area. The message could be a signal that the Israeli military is preparing for an imminent ground operation. Sources told Axios that the IDF's reason for the notification was in order for civilians not to be hurt by the military's actions and operations. Okay. So this is absolutely huge news. Okay. It looks like Israel's going to try to start their massive attack on the Gaza Strip this weekend, and they're trying to get the civilians out of there as soon as possible. And I shared with you guys in my last update the leaflets that the Israelis have been dropping over the Gaza Strip. So here's a map of the Gaza Strip. And so what they're doing is they're telling the civilians, the Palestinian civilians, to go to the south of the Gaza River. Okay, so this river right here, circled in red, basically kind of bisects the Gaza Strip. Okay, so they're telling everybody north of this river to go south across the river, and they will not be harmed by the Israeli military. So this is going to be like a safe zone. Okay, the Israeli military is going to be focusing on Gaza and North Gaza, and everything south of the Gaza River will be untouched. Okay, so that's what Israel's trying to do. And I listened to the IDF spokesperson in his late night update, and he said that Israel is really prioritizing the safety of Palestinian civilians here. Okay, they're giving them an opportunity to evacuate. All right. Here's the actual statement that the IDF released and sent out to civilians of Gaza City. The IDF calls for the evacuation of all civilians of Gaza City from their homes southwards for their own safety and protection, and move to the area south of the Wadi Gaza as shown on the map. The Hamas terrorist organization waged a war against the state of Israel, and Gaza City is an area where military operations take place. This evacuation is for your own safety. You will not be able to return to Gaza City until another announcement permitting it is made. Do not approach the area of the security fence with the state of Israel. Hamas terrorists are hiding in Gaza City inside tunnels, underneath houses, and inside buildings populated with innocent Gazan civilians. Civilians of Gaza City, evacuate south for your own safety and the safety of your families, and distance yourself from Hamas terrorists who are using you as human shields. In the following days, the IDF will continue to operate significantly in Gaza City and make extensive efforts to avoid harming civilians. Okay. So, the Israelis, they're a very professional military. They have some of the best, troops out there. Okay. Very, very professional, trying to avoid civilian casualties here. Okay. They know that Hamas uses civilians as human shields. And it's going to be a difficult campaign for the Israelis. Okay, there's going to be urban fighting. It's not going to be a quick in and out that's going to last, a couple of days or even a couple of weeks. They're going to have to go block by block, house by house. They're going to have to clear out every square inch of Gaza City. It's not going to be easy, guys. Okay, it's going to be long and bloody, and the Israelis are going to, really get bogged down in there. It's going to take them a while to clear this area out. Okay, but they're telling all Palestinian civilians to go south of that river. Okay, that splits the Gaza Strip in half, and they're going to focus on this area here. Okay, and they're probably going to do a more massive aerial bombardment once they know that the civilians are out of there and they've given enough time for them to leave. Then they're going to probably do a massive aerial bombardment. And I've already seen a variety of pictures of the J dams that Israel is preparing to use on Gaza. Okay, hundreds of J dams. J dams have a very large warhead, okay, a conventional warhead. They can do a lot of damage with those J dams. And the UN is pushing back on Israel's demand to get the civilians to leave within 24 hours. So let me read to you what the UN is saying. The UN considers it impossible for such a movement to take place without devastating humanitarian consequences. The United Nations strongly appeals for any such order, if confirmed, to be rescinded, avoiding what could transform what is already a tragedy into a calamitous situation. All right, so there's 1 million civilians that would need to leave within 24 hours. That's a big movement in a short period of time, but nevertheless, it shows that Israel is trying. Okay, we have confirmation now that Syria's 2 main airports have been taken out of service after Israeli airstrikes. Okay, so the Damascus International Airport and the Aleppo International Airport were both hit by Israeli missiles, and the runways were cratered. Okay. The simultaneous strikes damaged landing strips in the 2 airports, putting them out of service, state media said, citing an unidentified military source. Israel's ambassador to Germany, Ron Prosser, confirmed the strike on Damascus Airport, saying it was intended to thwart weapons deliveries from Iran. These missiles, these drones, are used against Israel, he said in an interview with German broadcaster Die Welt. Okay, so Israel's actually striking Syrian territory here. We also have some breaking news that, according to the Washington Post, Israel has dropped more ordnance on Gaza the last week than the U.S. dropped on Afghanistan in an entire year. Okay. We also have some breaking news coming from Al Jazeera. Apparently, the Al Qassam brigades have declared its capability to repel an Israeli land invasion of Gaza. Okay, so those are the various Palestinian groups, and they're saying that they're prepared to repel this Israeli invasion. We have the Norwegian foreign minister siding with the Palestinians and expressing critical concerns about Gaza. The extent of the destruction in Gaza is enormous, and I fear that the civilian population will face greater difficulties in the coming days. Imposing a complete blockade on the Gaza Strip, including water, electricity, and food, is unacceptable. Israel must allow humanitarian aid to enter and ensure its access to the civilian population in Gaza. All right. I want to just share some video footage here of those B-1 nuclear bombers, U.S. nuclear bombers that landed in the U.K. Yesterday. Okay, so I want to just share some clips here. So this is actually a U-2 spy plane that accompanied those nuclear bombers that went to the UK, and we now have an official statement from the U.S. military on the deployment of these B-1s to RAF Fairford in the UK. And it's not a coincidence that they're suddenly moving nuclear bombers into the UK with everything going on in Ukraine, now in Israel. It's not a coincidence at all. And I'm very concerned that Russia is going to try to attack the Baltic countries. And Putin has a big meeting with the president of China, Xi Jinping, or the leader of China. So there's the U-2 that accompanied those B-1 nuclear bombers. This is the U-2 spy plane. This is a stealth spy plane, a manned spy plane that is stealthy and can penetrate enemy airspace. And here we have the B-1 bombers. Okay, so this is in Great Britain. Here's one of them, okay, coming in. All right, and landing. Here's the second one coming in. So at least two of them landing in Britain, okay? Now, the B-1 bombers have an internal bomb bay, and they use a rotary launcher. And there's a lot of people out there that say that they're not nuclear capable anymore. Officially, that's true. They did try to denuclearize these due to the New START treaty that Obama signed with Putin. But it's very easy for them to rearm these bombers with nuclear weapons and make them nuclear capable again, okay? And so these are nuclear bombers, okay? I don't care what anybody says that, oh, they're not configured for nuclear bombs anymore, okay? That it doesn't take a lot of effort to reconfigure them to carry nuclear bombs again, okay? It's not a lot of changes that have to take place on the plane, all right? So these are nuclear bombers technically, okay? That's what they were designed to do. They were designed to deliver nuclear warheads, okay? Nuclear bombs. And before I continue with the breaking news, I want to just mention the sponsor for today's video, which is Alps. Check out Alps if you're looking for a solar generator. They've given me a 5% discount code to share with you guys. And it lasts until the end of this month, October 2023. So the promo code is NYPrepper, okay, spelled just like my channel name. So when you purchase anything from the Alps store, put in my discount code NYPrepper and you'll get 5% off. They make some awesome solar generators. I have their 600 watt and their 2400 watt generators, and I also have their panels, and they're really good. It's a really good value for the money, and for an SHTF situation, these are excellent because you can charge all of your electronic devices, okay, and they can do a lot, believe it or not. Here we have Alaska Prepper. A lot of you guys may know him, Rudy. So check them out. I'll leave a link in the description below this video, and I'll also share that promo code, but it's just NYPrepper, one word. And here's the official statement from the U.S. Air Force on these B-1 Lancers arriving in the UK. All right. More than 100 airmen and B-1B Lancer aircraft assigned to the 9th Expeditionary Bomb Squadron from Dyess Air Force Base, Texas, deployed to RAF Fairford, United Kingdom, Thursday for Bomber Task Force Europe 24-1. In today's challenging and dynamic security environment, the significance of these missions cannot be overemphasized, said General James Hecker, commander of U.S. Air Force in Europe, U.S. Air Force Africa, and NATO Allied Command. We're not only demonstrating our commitment to collective defense, but also strengthening our ability to respond to potential challenges. Okay, so they're gearing up, guys, for a showdown with Russia, with Iran, whatever needs to be done. They're there in the theater. Okay, I want to share some flight paths from overnight. We had some kind of a VIP plane go towards Cheyenne Mountain, which is a U.S. government doomsday bunker in Colorado Springs. Okay, a Learjet C-21A went from Montgomery, Alabama to Peterson Air Force Base, which is home of NORAD. Okay. We also had a nuclear war command and control plane that was out in the Atlantic off the coast of New Jersey for quite some time. And it was accompanied by KC 46A Pegasus aerial refuelers, which is really interesting. And here's a close up shot of the nuclear war command and control plane and two of those Pegasus aerial refuelers hanging out in the same area off the coast of New Jersey, off the continental shelf. And this E-6 Mercury nuclear war command and control plane is responsible for remotely launching all of our Minuteman III ICBMs. And it's also responsible for communicating with our nuclear forces in the event of a nuclear war. If ground-based communications and command and control get wiped out, these planes would be used to issue launch orders to our nuclear forces. And they can also, like I said, remotely launch our silo-based missiles. Okay. Here we have some interesting flights over New England last night. There were two of these KC-46 Pegasus planes hanging out over central Vermont and central New Hampshire, and they were doing loops, which is really, really unusual. And we also had a lot of aerial refuelers over the Persian Gulf, U.S. Air Force aerial refuelers hanging out over the Persian Gulf and over Saudi Arabia. There was also a sub-Hunter plane hanging out off the coast of Dubai in the Strait of Hormuz. Here's a zoomed in look at those aerial refuelers that were looping over central New England. Okay, very strange. And there is a base in Vermont where F-22s are kept. So I wonder if they were doing some kind of an exercise with F-22s, or I don't know, maybe they were refueling some bombers from Missouri that were on their way to, Europe or wherever. Maybe they were refueling more B-1s. I don't know. Here we have a picture of the USS Ronald Reagan, which has already arrived in South Korea. Okay, there's a carrier strike group arriving in South Korea. Carrier strike group number 5. South Korea is afraid that North Korea is going to attack them. So we have deployed a carrier strike group with an Aegis missile defense ship. Okay, so the Aegis ships are basically kind of like a Patriot missile system mounted to a warship, except they have higher speed than Patriot missiles, and they also have a longer range. They're better at intercepting ballistic missiles. So not only did we send an aircraft carrier and the entire strike group to South Korea, but we also sent an Aegis missile defense warship to South Korea as well. Okay. So that's the latest information that I have on the situation in Israel. Israel calling for Palestinian civilians to evacuate within the next 24 hours to go south of the Gaza River. And after that, most likely they're going to start their massive campaign, their massive ground invasion of Gaza. And that's when things could really get interesting. We'll see if Hezbollah gets involved. We'll see if Iran and Syria get involved. And today is Friday the 13th, so they're talking about the global jihad today. We have to be on high alert, especially if you live in a big city or you work in a big city. Be on high alert today, okay? And it's not just the big cities, but they could go after our infrastructure. They could go after substations. They could go after power generation facilities. They could go after dams, different things, okay? So it's not just your classic violent terror attacks, but they could try to target our infrastructure as well. Okay. And if it doesn't happen today, if let's say today turns out to be a dud, I would still be on high alert. Okay. Because as this war in the Middle East progresses, the chances of there being attacks here in the homeland go up as time goes on. As the war continues, the odds of terror attacks here in the U.S. are going to keep going up. and then the odds of attacks on our infrastructure are going to keep going up. We have lots and lots of sleeper cells that have infiltrated our country, all right, and they're just waiting for the orders to carry out attacks. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I'll be back later on to give you another update this afternoon. So stay tuned to my channel for continuing coverage of the war in Israel. Make sure you're subscribed and click the bell icon to be notified of these emergency updates. And other than that, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere.